New York Times best-selling author and former Chicago Cubs baseball player Jim Murphy is also a performance coach that works with some of the best athletes and leaders in the world. During one of the most challenging times in his life, when Jim's mother was dying and he was struggling financially, something amazing happened. Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown was spotted reading Jim's book, Inner Excellence, on the sidelines during their wild-card playoff game. This sparked a viral moment and made the book a top seller on Amazon. Within the pages of Inner Excellence, Jim Murphy shares how to train your mind for peak performance so you can live a fulfilling and meaningful life.
Jim Murphy is with us now. It's a dynamite book. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Andrew.
I was one of those folks watching the Eagles play, and they cut away to A.J. Brown, and I said to my kids, what's this dude reading? Like, is it a Bible? What is this? And then eventually comes out, it is your book, and you weren't even watching it live, were you?
Right. I was in my hotel room in Dallas watching Notre Dame play Penn State. And then I looked at my phone, I saw the text messages, and that's when I found out.
Now, you're so smooth and calm talking about it, but that's a pretty life-changing moment for you, wasn't it, what God did that day?
Yeah, it's incredible. My life, as I talked about it in the video earlier, it was a somber time in my life because my mom was dying, and I had money in savings, but I don't really check my banking account too often. So my checking account was overdrawn. My mortgage payment bounced, and it actually went into the negative the week that A.J. Brown, was seen on television and sold 100,000 books that week. So it was amazing what God did.
So people who bought Inner Excellence, what did you have? What do you have for them? How is this going to help change their life?
Yeah, so Inner Excellence is so countercultural. Our culture, Western culture, is obsessed about the symbols of success, and it's because our greatest need is unconditional love, and our greatest desire is to be fully known and fully loved. And so Western culture says, hey, if you get those symbols of success, you're going to get what you want most, and that's to be loved. And it's really this illusion. And so Inner Excellence says, hey, let's go for what's most powerful, and let's live a life of love, and then you can be fearless.
The book received a lot of notoriety because a premier NFL athlete, A.J. Brown, was reading it. So let's just talk about athletics for a minute. How does concept of love help an athlete at the pro level?
Yeah, so it depends on if I'm talking to a pro athlete, I want to make sure that I'm speaking their language and help them understand what they want most. And Inner Excellence is really understanding human behavior, human optimization. And so if you want to be a great coach, counselor, parent, then understanding how humans work is really helpful and important. And it's understanding that the heart is the key to your life. Everything you think, say, and do flows from the heart. And so training your heart is the most important thing that you'll ever do. And love is the most powerful force in the universe. Love is what holds the stars in place and grows the grass and spins the earth. And when you walk in love, then you're fearless. There's no fear in love.
I don't want to misrepresent how you articulate it, but you say, I believe this is correct, a lot of the basis for our fear is because we're self-centered. Even if we don't think we're self-centered, because that's got a bad rap, that creates a lot of fear, right, in athletics or in leadership. How does that happen? Yeah,
so self-centeredness is the biggest challenge. I spent 5 years full-time writing and researching that book, and that's one of the things that I found is that self-centeredness is the biggest challenge that we face in performance and in life, and it leads to fear. And then what happens is, it's necessary to think about yourself as you go about your day. You got to look both ways when you cross the street, and you need to feed yourself and clothe yourself and do all those things and think about yourself all day long. The problem is that every time you think about yourself, your subconscious knows all your weaknesses and knows all your failures, and so it starts to compare with others because our deepest need is to be loved, to be fully known and fully loved, our greatest desire. And so we're constantly looking around like, how am I doing? Am I loved? Am I getting the love that I want? But there's always someone that looks better, has more things and more possessions and achievements or followers. And so it leads down this road to fear the more we think about ourselves.
And so self-centeredness, I guess another way of saying it is we're so concerned about what people think of us. Now, how does that affect an athlete's performance if they're so worried about what others are thinking of how they're performing?
Yeah, so Inner Excellence is really an in-depth system in teaching people how to be fully engaged in the moment, fully present. And when you're fully present at the highest level, the way I think about it is you're present to the realities of heaven, where you have this sense that anything is possible. And so that's what I do is I help people understand that being fully present is even more powerful than confidence, because when you're confident, that's great. Athletes come to me, they want to be confident, but you can be confident and careless. And when you're fully present, that's when, you know, great things happen.
Do you de-emphasize winning a little bit? Because, you know, winning in pro sports, college sports, like sports at any level, winning is what it's all about, per se, but do you de-emphasize that a bit?
You look at the greatest coaches in the history of sports, and you'll see that they didn't really talk about winning. They talked about the process of being the best that they could be. Whether it's John Wooden or Nick Saban or Phil Jackson, Dean Smith, you know, a lot of basketball coaches, it's about what do we need to do to get better every day, and that's what Inner Excellence is about. And what Inner Excellence does with performance is says, hey, let's go for what you really want. You think you want to have 1 million followers, you want to have more success and more money. Well, those are just symbols. What you really want is to feel fully alive. You want a meaningful life filled with amazing experiences and deep, enriching relationships where you're learning and growing and making a difference in the world. And you know, the only way that you're going to feel fully alive is really through surrender.
What about humility? It must be tough, whether you're a leader or an athlete at any level. You're supposed to be bold, confident, I got all this, but you say humility is key, right?
Yeah, so humility, I define humility as an accurate view of self. It's not overinflated or underinflated, it's an accurate view. So on the one hand, I'm a child of God, and so I have this sort of royal status, but on the other hand, I'm here to serve and not be served. And so, to put others in front of me. So we have this interesting dichotomy of my identity. And human nature is I get my identity from these, what I call the possessions, achievements, looks, money, and status, the palms, these symbols of success. And so that's what I spent my life doing, trying to get my identity from that. And it's a chase your tail, endless treadmill life.
When an athlete, an executive, a leader of some kind calls you in and says, help coach me, mentor me, teach me, does your approach to life surprise them a little bit, the approach you're taking in Inner Excellence?
Well, if they haven't read the book, then what I try to do is connect with them right away and help them. So we start off with, how do you want to feel in your life? Whether you're A.J. Brown or any superstar or anybody, you could be someone that's, you know, working 2 jobs and got kids at home. I want to know how you want to feel in your life, because it's going to be similar for most people. I want to feel peace. I want to feel joy. I want to feel confident, those sort of things. Because I essentially, we're all human, and so I know what they're going to want, and I know what their main obstacles are. This self-centeredness that leads to the overanalysis, it leads to negative thinking and judgmental thinking, and the ego that's always comparing, always threatened, never satisfied. So I know what they want, I know what their basic challenges are, and so we work on this giving up the self-reliance for surrender.
And you, at last point here, you even talk about how we can teach ourselves to break some of our trauma, right? Some of our trauma we've experienced in athletics, because the brain protects itself, right? We're protecting ourselves from future trauma, right? And that plays a role in sports, right?
Yeah, so we actually have 3 brains. We have one in our gut, one in our heart, and one in our head. And the most important one is in your heart. And that's where your greatest fears are and your greatest dreams are. But also the beliefs that you have, which are informed by your experiences, which include trauma. And our subconscious mind, which is one of the main roles, is to protect you. And so wherever you go, it's always looking for context that could be something that in the past that's hurt you. It's going to remind you with anxiety. But it's so important to know that whether it's a phobia, a fear, a mental block, or a childhood trauma, that the memory will stay the same, but the pain can be greatly reduced if not completely removed.
Fascinating stuff. Jim, thanks for being with us. Incredible what God did in that playoff game and what he has in store for you, and appreciate the wisdom in your book. The book is called Inner Excellence, and it's available wherever books are sold. We'll be back with more of the program right after this. Stay with us.